Boom shakalaka, will this critical Bitcoin price level hold? I think a lot of people are in for a surprise. Stay tuned. What's up everyone, Randall here from Crypto Love. Today's video, a lot of very interesting charts for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, including will this critical price level hold and could we be in for a huge market surprise? Before we get into it guys, like the video, it helps out so much. Now today, fear and greed, look at this at 50. It hasn't been down this low in over 6 months. Yowza, dead neutral. The overall market today down over 4%. Bitcoin at 39,057, Ethereum at 2232, BNB at 295, Solana $80, XRP 50 cents, Cardano 45 cents, Dogecoin 7 cents, and Avalanche $27. And Bitcoin, after breaking through this yellow line, like we discussed, this is the previous bar pattern from the last time it did that. Bitcoin has fallen all the way from the 50-day to the 100-day moving average, finding support there temporarily at $39,000. Could it go lower? There is quite the possibility. The last time it broke through the 50-day, it did go all the way down to the 200-day moving average, this orange line right there. And if you take a look right here, nice convergence of the 200-day moving average, this multi-year trend line, and the $40,000 by halving fair value price trend line. A lot going on right there, roughly $34,000. Now, why is this happening? Well, a lot of sell-off. People bought the hype, no, not the hype, bought the rumor and sold the news on the ETF. Now, yes, they're going to make money in the short term. Does that change the overall thing? Probably not. But in the past week, Bitcoin whales sold around 70,000 Bitcoin, or about $3 billion worth of Bitcoin. And as of right now, the CME gap has been filled at $39,000. Now, typically, based on the last two bull cycles, Bitcoin retraced to the 50 fib after hitting the 78.6 fib, which it did. That right now, 32.6, so close to that $34,000 level we were talking about, could potentially go there. But you have to ask yourself, excluding Grayscale, all the Bitcoin ETF issuers have collectively acquired 86,000 and change Bitcoin at an average price of $42,000. What's the Bitcoin price today? Yes, less than $42,000. Do you think these seasoned institutions really bought the top? Unlikely. This level of institutional investment suggests a strategic long-term view rather than a peak purchase. I doubt every one of them bought the absolute top. It would just be unreasonable. As a matter of fact, you really have to consider something like this in terms of long-term perspective when you're thinking about what's going on. So, if he's not mistaken, Bitcoin ETFs are sporting a 7-day trade volume of $18 billion, total assets under management of $25 billion, average daily volume of $2.6 billion per day, or roughly 10% of assets under management. Now, the largest gold ETF has average daily volume of $6 billion a day and total assets under management of $55 billion. That means that in a week, Bitcoin ETFs are already 45% of gold in both volume and assets under management. You have to ask yourself, when flippening, Schiff is going to have a hard time this decade. That's right. In a week, Bitcoin already has half the assets under management of gold in all of its history. Yowza. So, when that happens, you have to think about some things that are coming up. We have the halving coming up. We also have the US presidential election, which happens the same time as the halving, roughly, but they're both correlated with Bitcoin peak. So, the halving isn't just 80 days. Ever wonder where Bitcoin was 80 days before the previous halvings? Well, in 2016, it was 62% down from the previous all-time high. In 2020, it was 52% down. Now, if obviously Bitcoin has programmed in, you subtract 10% each time, the next one will be 42% down. Well, that'll be roughly where we are right now, 39,000 and change. So there's a possibility price may stick around here as well. This is the fair value at halving price, $40,000. Also, where we are right now, Bitcoin is supported by double support trend lines. We have this, which was resistance here and support here, and we have this, which is support right here. Very similar formation here, and Bitcoin launched from that territory, going from $24,000 to $48,000, doubling. Could we see a doubling of price from here, going from $40,000 to $80,000? Well, I think if we go only that far, it's probably not going to stop there. Also, if we take a look at Bitcoin on the daily candles, we have a falling wedge and oversold on the stochastic. Last time we had this, look at what Bitcoin did. Went from 26 to 50, close enough, $1,000, $48,000. Well, we have the same thing once again, oversold on the stochastic and falling wedge on Bitcoin. If we have support here, could be setting up for another launch. On the 2-week candles, though, the stochastic is in overbought territory, and you're like, well, if it's overbought, then definitely need to sell right now. But this could just be the calm before the storm. Keep in mind the bull market stochastics, RSIs can be very tricky. It can remain in the overbought territory for an extended period of time. You can see this almost for a full entire year here, faking bearish crosses after bearish crosses while Bitcoin continues its uptrend. The last time Bitcoin went as quickly from oversold to overbought like this in a bull market, well, that was right before it took a massive exploding parabolic run up. We also take a look at the Bollinger Band squeeze alerts right now. Same territory as right before a massive run. So there is the possibility, and I think there's a lot of support at $34,000 if we break through this $39,000, but there's also the possibility this could be the calm before the storm because we are sitting right above the Bitcoin buy zone. We got rejected from this red line right here, which is probably one of the Kijun, one of those things, but we are just above the buy zone right now. Should you get back into here, well, you'll definitely want to buy because it's likely being sent to Valhalla right after a healthy correction. As a matter of fact, as of right now, the extended log curves for Bitcoin that has hit every top has roughly $180,000. And the longer it takes to get out there, the higher that price gets. So that's all for today's episode. If you enjoyed it, push the like button. I'll catch you guys later. Have a good one. Love you. Peace.
If you don't think Bitcoin's going to $1 million a coin and then $10 million a coin, you're already a loser.
From now on, if you don't own Bitcoin, you're a moron.